welcome to a new video gambit. This week we're discussing my Avengers Endgame predictions. Let's begin.
Everything changes.
Now, a lot of you are probably tuning in after the first weekend or even after you've seen Avengers Endgame for the first time. Who knows, maybe you've seen it 6 times by now. I don't know. I would probably watch it 6 times too if I wasn't waiting for a special opportunity to watch it at a drive-in. Yeah, it's about the experience, not the movie I'm seeing, but that's besides the point. No, I'm kidding. It's about Avengers Endgame. All right, let's get started. I want to briefly address how my predictions went last year. I actually predicted Avengers Infinity War with almost an 80 to 90% degree of accuracy. The only 2 things I really got wrong was that I thought the Soul Stone was going to be in Wakanda, kind of like everyone else did. Who would have thought it was on another planet that we never heard of before called Vormir, guarded by the Red Skull, but yeah, you win some, you lose some. And then the only other thing I got wrong was that I thought that Thanos was going to use the Space Stone or something to teleport half of the Avengers to Titan. I didn't think that they were going to hijack one of the spaceships and actually use that to get to Titan and confront Thanos earlier in the film. But other than that, pretty much everything else, go back and watch it. I'll try and have a link in the description below or a little card up on this corner or this corner. It's one of the corners. And let's finally jump into our Avengers Endgame predictions for 2019. Now, the actual details of this film, I think, are going to be a lot harder to predict because we're cruising into uncharted territory. Uncharted territory for the MCU and uncharted territory for the speculation, because unlike Infinity War, where we had a lot to go on last year, we had comments from the Russo brothers, we had the comics to look at. I was actually one of the only people that I know to predict that Thanos won at the end and that he was going to perform his iconic snap. So many of my friends were caught so off guard, and I was like, there it is. I was going to be surprised if the Avengers won. My question wasn't who's going to die. My question was who lives. I thought a majority of them were going to be. But one of my greatest predictions from last year that's into this year was that I said whoever, well, actually I didn't, maybe I predicted it, maybe I got it from one of the Russo brothers' comments, but I said that whoever is going to have a major role last year is going to have a minor role this year, and whoever was going to have a minor role last year was going to have a major role this year. So Captain America had a minor role. I'm hoping to expect a lot coming from him. You know, Spider-Man had a pretty big role, relatively speaking. I don't think we'll see as much of him, but that's just to lay out an example. So I think that what I'm going to do is I'm going to predict the structure of the movie and then try and predict some specifics. I don't know how accurate they'll be. This is a lot harder to go on, and I have no idea if it's going to be time travel, time loops, the virtual reality thing that Tony Stark created in Civil War. I have literally no clue. So let's just try and get into the structure. I think the first 15 to 20 minutes, maybe 25 of this movie are going to be dedicated to showing what life is like after the snap. We're going to get the doom and gloom. We're going to get Cap going to the therapy. We're going to get just everybody in distraught. This will probably be very dark, very gloomy, a lot of self-reflection, a lot of introspection, and we're going to see how the snap has affected at least Earth to some extent. I don't know how much we'll get the universe as a whole. After that, I think the next 15 to 10 minutes will be Ant-Man getting out of the quantum realm, Tony Stark and Nebula getting back from space, and at the end of this period, we will get, and also Captain Marvel arriving. At the end of this period, we will hopefully have a lot of the Avengers back at HQ. Not sure. Actually, might leave Ant-Man out of that because he might show up later, but we'll keep him in mind. It's at this point, I think, that we will get the Avengers, doing a premature attack on Thanos due to the clips we've seen and also what we've been told through tweets and speculation. It seems to indicate that there will be an early attack on Thanos, and this will be very premature. It'll go horribly wrong. I anticipate the next 30, 40 minutes of the movie going on about this plan, and they think it's going to work. And then, but surprise, surprise, there's a whole 2 hours left of the movie. It goes horribly wrong. Hopefully some of the Avengers make it back to Avengers HQ alive or well enough to continue the plan going forward. I then think the next 40 minutes of the movie will include some of the Avengers just defeated. They've given up. I don't think some of them are gonna want to try again, because 2 times in a row they've lost to Thanos. It's just not going well. And then eventually they're going to get a second wind. They're going to come up with a new idea. This is where Ant-Man might come out of nowhere and give them that new idea, the quantum realm, if he doesn't show up in the first act of the movie. All right. So then they're going to start formulating this new idea. They're going to start carrying it out. Thanos may or may not attack Avengers HQ. Maybe that's the final battle. Maybe that's not the mid battle. Anyway, I don't know what this middle of the movie plan is going to be. I don't know if they're going to go quantum realm, time loop, time vortexes, virtual reality. I have no clue. And all of the early reactions on Twitter are saying that any expectations and predictions and fan theories were not enough. But the Russos did say that some of the theories were on track. So I guess I'm going to have to go quantum realm. Something with the quantum realm, especially because you have in the trailer where they said 3, 2, 1, here we go. That's Bruce Banner saying it. I guess that's them entering the quantum realm. I don't know. It's so hard. But then the next 30 minutes of the movie, we're like kind of nearing the 2-hour mark at this point, will be them enacting this plan. Maybe Thanos tries to stop them. Maybe they're just turning the past on its head, changing events, or at least gathering information from other events to know what to do later in the future, or planting seeds, like, because maybe they won't alter the past themselves at any point. Maybe they'll just tell their past selves what's going to happen in the future and what to expect, and that'll set off a chain reaction of events. I don't know. We've seen the toy leak where it seems Iron Man creates his own Infinity Gauntlet. What? Maybe? And then the next 30 minutes will be the final battle. Here we are at like the 2.5-hour mark. And then everything after that, the next 20 minutes will just be the fallout of the film. It'll be the wind down. It'll be all the character resolutions. We'll get to hopefully see Natasha get some closure, Hawkeye get some closure. We'll hopefully get to see Thor get some closure. For some of these people, it's very obvious to kind of predict what their closure will be. Hawkeye will, for the 3rd film in a row, retire, settle with his family on the farm. Maybe his daughter is Kate Bishop and becomes the next Hawkeye. Maybe that's outlined in the TV show that Hawkeye is going to get. I don't know. Natasha, I don't know, maybe she settles with Bruce. Apparently, Hulk's arc is going to end it from Ragnarok to now. I forget if it was the Russos or Kevin Feige. Someone said that it was going to be the conclusion of his 3-film arc because it was so hard to get him his own solo film for so long. Thor, it's really easy to predict the closing of his arc because he just needs to be the new king and find what's left of his people. Maybe some of them come back. He needs to find his people a new home and rule over them as the rightful king. Will Loki come back and help him rule? I don't know. It's so hard to predict this movie, especially getting to the last 2, because, Iron Man, it's really simple. It appears that the logical conclusion to his arc is he finally ties the knot with Pepper. That's it. He ties the knot with Pepper, settles down, has a whole bunch of the Avengers there for his wedding. It's going to be awesome. Hopefully that happens during the last 20, 30 minutes of this movie. Then We have Captain America. Oh gosh. Gosh, what will happen to Captain America? Is the perfect resolution where he gets stuck in the past and he gets to live out the rest of his life from the end of World War II onward as a normal person? He gets that dance with Peggy. Maybe he gets that dance with Peggy as he's just back in time, and then he has to go back to the future. I don't know. Uh, but maybe he gets to actually marry Peggy. I don't know what if that's the perfect thing. I kind of doubt it because Steve is a very, very different character. He even said in Age of Ultron that the guy that wanted that normal life to just settle down went into the ice 70 years ago, and the different person came out. So it's very, very likely that maybe we'll have a whole scene where Peggy wants him to stay. And then he tells her that he can't and that he won't. And then he has to go to the future, back to the future, because it's not the same him that she remembers sacrificing himself. I don't know how many days or weeks or months ago, whatever they go to this point in history. Maybe the conclusion to his character arc is that he finally finds peace. Maybe he marries Sharon Carter and settles down anyway, because after this long, gruesome battle, he can finally call it quits and just say, that was it. I don't think I need to do any more. I don't think I'm needed anymore. It's time to finally call it quits. That one sounds like the least likely to me. The third option I can think of is that he dies, hopefully, because of all the people saying that this has lots and lots of fan service packed into it. He lifts Mjolnir. It wouldn't be as epic if he lifts Stormbreaker. It'd be kind of epic, but not as epic because it didn't have the parameters put upon it by Odin where only those who are worthy will be given the power of Thor. So I'm hoping that somehow with this time travel, there's still a chance that Captain America can lift Mjolnir. I'm hoping. I don't think Captain Marvel dies at the beginning of the movie with that first attempt. I don't think so. I heard something, small spoiler here if you want to skip literally 15 seconds. Leaked footage, somebody said something about Captain Marvel being later in the film. So, okay, spoiler over. So because of that, I don't think Captain Marvel will die in the beginning of the film. But we'll see what happens. And then the last 8 minutes, Tony Stark said, are the best 8 minutes of any 8 minutes in the MCU. Obviously, hopefully some more logical, heartwarming conclusions to the story, and then the credits roll. The thing that excites me most about this movie is that Joe and Anthony Russo, who have never failed us, oh good Lord, that we would just be able to have them do more comic book movies in the future when they've had the time off and they've rested and they've done smaller projects. Oh, please let them return, for they are truly two of the greatest filmmakers of our time. They have blessed us with the assurance that they looked at this movie completely, solely, utterly, and exclusively as a conclusion to the previous 3 phases. A conclusion to all the 11 franchises, a conclusion to all the 21 films that came before this, and they were not looking forward. Thank God. How many times do we see movies that spend too much time trying to set up the future rather than provide a satisfying conclusion and wind up just ruining or cheapening all that we hold dear because we got to promote the new stuff. We have to promote that new stuff. And thank goodness, praise be that this is supposed to be the most satisfying, the most emotional, the most everything we ever wanted in this film to be times 10, according to some reports, that we ever wanted it to be. My gosh, sorry for the long, convoluted, run-on sentence that made no sense, but literally this is supposed to be at least 10 times beyond our expectations. I can't wait to see it. it's going to be like 2 weeks before I get to see this movie, because like I said, I'm waiting for that special tailgating opportunity to watch it out under the open stars and really, really, really get to enjoy this movie in the way that I at the very least, I enjoy this the most. That's all that I have. I have no idea where this movie's going. That's my basic idea of what I'm expecting as far as the structure is concerned. Hopefully, you guys in the future watching this right now are just looking at the screen with your faces in shock at how accurate I was 2 years in a row. Gosh, I have to open up a business where I just predict movies and get money like horse races. Or maybe you're all just laughing at me even having the idea of making money off of this, because at the very least this prediction video was wildly off. And I wouldn't be surprised, because this movie is supposed to both meet and subvert all expectations at the same time, and like I said, tenfold. Well, I don't know what my next video gambit's going to be. Hopefully it'll be something that I get out to you guys in a timely manner, and also something that's very near and dear to me. So, without further ado, I want to thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment below, give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you at my next video gambit.